Ace Your EMT Basic Practical helps you prepare for your practical exam, but did you know that Knightlite has study software that will help you prepare for your written exam as well? The program is called Signal 18 EMT Basic Study Helper, and this software has helped thousands of EMT candidates pass their written exam since it was first introduced in 1996. Recently, Knightlite has completely rewritten its testing interface to make it even more powerful than it was before. We call the new interface Code 3. You can order Windows versions that will run on Windows XP, Windows Vista, both 64-bit and 32-bit, as well as Microsoft's new operating system, Windows 7. Knightlite has also written new Code 3 interfaces that will run on Apple's OS X. It's universal binary, which means it will run on both powered PCs and Intel Macs. Let's take a short tour of some of the key features of Knightlite's Code 3 EMT Basic Study Helper. When you first open the program, you will see a table of contents window. Here on the left is a list of the chapters included in the program. There are 35 chapters in this version of Signal 18. The software contains 1,500 questions based on Brady's Emergency Care 10th edition. If you have a later edition of this text, Knightlite will have a version for this edition as well. To open a chapter, simply double-click on the title name in this list. The main testing window will appear. You can navigate through the test by using the navigational buttons at the bottom of the screen. To move to the next question in the chapter, click on the Next button. To move back a question, click on the Back button. To move to the last question in the chapter, click on the Last button. Likewise, to move to the first question, click the First button. To answer a question, simply click on one of the radio buttons next to the answer. The software will immediately tell you whether you answered the question correctly or incorrectly. You can see your score up here in this corner of the window. To go to the next question, click on the Next button. You can also move quickly through the questions by simply right-clicking in the testing window. The software can also read the questions out loud to you using the computer's native voice. Click on the Read button and the question will be read out loud to you. Check Voice Assist and the question will automatically be read out loud to you when you advance to the next question. Listen.
An EMT who does not provide the standard of care and causes physical or psychological harm to a patient may be accused of A. Failure to act. A conscious and mentally competent adult patient of legal age who gives you oral consent to provide care is giving you A. Expressed consent, B. Implied consent, C. Informed consent, D. Involuntary consent. Correct. The EMTB is governed by many medical, legal, and ethical guidelines. This collective set of regulations and ethical considerations. Correct.
Let's look at some of the other features of Signal 18. The software automatically saves the result from your last session, and that information is displayed here. The last chapter I accessed was medical, legal, and ethical issues. This section shows the following: the chapter name, the date and time I took the test, the duration of time it took to take the test, the number of questions I answered correctly and incorrectly, my score, and the last question I answered. I can go back and resume taking this test by clicking the Resume button. I can also print out my test results by clicking this button. If I want my printed results to include a list of all the incorrectly answered questions, I just check this box. Down in the center panel, I can get more information about this chapter and how I'm progressing learning this material. The center panel tells me that there are 19 questions in this chapter and that I've answered 2 incorrectly and 6 correctly, with a total of 8 questions answered. It also shows me that I still have 11 questions more to answer. I can load just those unanswered questions by clicking the Unanswered button. The center panel also shows me that based on the 8 questions I have answered, my overall score for this chapter is 75%. The center panel also shows me the total number of questions in the entire database. Over on the right here, you'll see a list of the questions I answered incorrectly in the entire chapter. I can access an individual question by double-clicking on the question in the list, or I can load them all by clicking the Reload These Questions Only button. If I want to see how I'm doing taking the entire test, all I have to do is click the Find All text right up here. The center panel will display my test results based on the entire database of questions. You can change the appearance of the software interface by clicking on the Skin combo box here. You can choose from 15 different skins. Going back to the main testing window, let's look at some more features. Let's say I want to search all the questions and find every question that mentions the hair traction splint. To search the questions, I click the search button and type in hair, and then just press enter. The software will locate all the questions containing the word. By clicking the CL or clone button, Signal 18 will let you clone any test so you can come back to it later. To retrieve your test, click on the R button. A window will open and display a listing of all your cloned tests, displaying the time, the date, the chapter title, and your score. Double-click on a cloned test to load it. Signal 18 EMT Basic Study Helper is based on the Brady text. Every question has a page reference to the textbook. To display a page reference, click on the Notes button. While taking a test, you can change a chapter at any time by clicking the Select Another Chapter combo box. A list of chapters will be displayed. Simply click on a chapter to select a new test. Right in this area, you can also change the typeface, the size, and the color of the text by clicking on this little Type button. To change it back to the default settings, simply click on the Defaults button. In Signal 18 EMT Basic Study Helper, you're not limited to just displaying a single chapter at one time. You can create a random test from a single chapter, multiple chapters, or you can randomize the entire database of questions. To create a random test from a single chapter, click on the menu item under Questions. Select Create Random Tests from Single Chapter. You can also create a random test from the entire database of questions from this menu as well as a random test from multiple chapters. When you create a test from multiple chapters, a panel will open up displaying a list of available chapters on the left-hand side of the screen. To add a chapter to your random test, simply double-click on the chapter title. The selected chapter will be added to the list to the right. Enter the number of questions you would like in your test and click the Create Test button. The software will then create a random test of 100 questions.